is not something that you are supposed to cram. Just come to your Excel with this data which I have here with me. So you are being given options. That option 1, which one is going to be the correct answer for pasting a document or an information to the next cell? So the first one, you are being told that Control F. So just ask yourself, how am I going to paste? So Control F is basically finding. You want to find an information. You can see the moment you dial Control F, this one here pops up. What do you want to find? And then this other side, what do you want to replace? So that one is automatically out. I don't need to take the whole day to read Control F. No, I'm allowed to use an Excel document. This one here, you are allowed to use. We are looking at the shortcuts questions given to us in the pilot paper and December sitting. So the first one which we started with is the pilot paper, section A of the pilot paper. So of course, choice A is now out. How about V, Control V? So you've already copied something here, and you want to paste it to this new cell within this sheet. So what do? Choice B is telling us that Control V will help us to get that. Let's try. We've copied, now we are going to paste Control V. As you can see, we've now pasted it to a new cell using Control V. Then let's move to C. Control C is basically copying. Control C is basically copying. It does not paste that information here. So option C is out. Then Control U. Control U. Control U. What will Control U give us? Let's see what Control U will give to us. So Control U is going to be basically to underline. If I come to this section and say Control U, it is going to underline that information. So that's how you eliminate those choices. That's how you test the choices given to you. You don't need to cram the shortcuts. So if the examiner tries to bring even 4 questions from topic number 2, those are free 8 marks given to you. Is that clear? Let us not struggle to cram the things in topic number 2. Those are free marks. Let's get to question number 7, which somebody might be seeing as a complex thing. Maybe you've not heard of it within the shortcuts that you've been using. Question number 7, the following statements relate to the formula of computing the standard deviation in MS Excel. So Roman 1, we have standard deviation P. Then you are being told that compute the standard deviation of an entire sample. Standard deviation S computes the standard deviation of an entire sample. Then standard deviation A computes the standard deviation of a selected sample. How do we do that? You are allowed to use this document in your exams. Just come to this section here, because that's a formula or that's a function in Excel. Say equal to, then standard deviation P. So the moment standard deviation P appears, the application or what that formula will help you to solve is given here. Calculate standard deviation based on the entire population given as arguments. So standard deviation P will help us to calculate standard deviation based on the entire population. Okay, so let's see. Standard deviation P. Is the statement given to us there true? Compute the standard deviation of an entire sample. computes the standard deviation of an entire sample. Okay, let's get to standard deviation S. Just below that, what does it tell us? Estimate standard deviation based on a sample. Estimate standard deviation based on a sample. So standard deviation S computes the standard deviation of an entire sample. So is that correct? Standard deviation S, that is Roman 2. Is that correct? Is that correct? Okay, some people are saying false, some people are saying yes. So we will see the version of the Excel which you have, which is giving you that. But I believe that is correct. Then let's go to standard deviation A. Standard deviation A. Down there, we are being told that estimate standard deviation based on a sample. Estimate standard deviation based on a sample. So let's see, standard deviation A computes the standard deviation of a selected sample. Computes the standard deviation of a selected sample. So that one is correct. That one is correct. And therefore, I want you now to collect the information which we've read from this, that is standard deviation P, standard deviation S, and then standard deviation A. And then you now arrange them and tell me the correct answer. That is, which of the following choices is correct? Is it choice A, choice B, choice C, and choice D? Are all the statements true? If not, which one is going to be the correct one? Which one is going to be the correct one? Which one is going to be the correct one? Yes, let me see the response of these people, because people have been struggling to cram topic number 2. They have not even managed to master even half or even a quarter of what is required of them in that topic. So today we are going to have a very simplified method of getting these free marks being given to you from topic number 2. So I can see majority are telling me that the correct answer is choice C. I can see majority are telling me that the correct answer is choice C. I can also see some are also having choice B, option B as their correct answer. Some are also having choice B as their correct answer. So if you look at that question, remember, Roman 1, the standard deviation P is for a population, not a sample. It is for the entire population. So the one that is giving us, or the information given to us there, is for a sample. And therefore, any choice that will indicate Roman 1 is going to be eliminated. So we do away with Roman A, I mean choice A. We are going to do away with choice B. And then choice D is telling us that all the statements are correct, which is wrong. And therefore, the correct answer is C. So N is telling us that he or she is floating. What is it that you are not getting? N. What is it that you are not getting? What is it that you are not getting? I believe you have opened a document, an Excel document, any for that matter, and then we test the shortcuts. We are covering topic number 2. My Excel P is for an entire sample. Which version of Excel is that? Which version of Excel is that? Yes, this one is given to you for free. You are allowed to open the exam document, the Excel. This document that I have here, which I've also shared with you, is downloaded direct from your portal during exams. You download it, you open it in your computer, do the questions, that is number 1 to 5 or 21 to 25, then you save it and submit it back to your portal. Is it allowed to Google in exams? No, I've not mentioned that. I've not mentioned something of that kind. I've not mentioned that. If you try that, you'll find yourself somewhere else. I've not mentioned that. I've said this is the document given to you, downloaded direct from your portal. So once you download this, you'll come here into this section, either question 21 or 22, anywhere. Then you now test the questions given to you for topic number 2. Okay, let's now get to question number 8. Yes, let's get to question number 8. Which one is not an array function in Microsoft Excel? Which one is not an array function in Microsoft Excel? So we have MM, then we have transpose, then we have VLOOKUP. So for you to test this one here, you also need not to cram everything in the topic number 2. Just come here and start testing the questions one by one. The first one we have equal to MM. That is the matrix multiple. Then it says returns the matrix product of 2 arrays, an array with the same number of rows as array 1 and columns as array 2. So that is matrix multiple is an array function. It returns a matrix product of 2 arrays. It returns a multiple or returns the matrix product of 2 arrays, an array with the same number of rows as array 1 and columns as array 2. So that one automatically qualifies to be the correct answer. Then let's get to transpose. The new version of Excel has got transpose. So let's see. So what does it say? Converts a vertical range of cells to a horizontal range or vice versa. Converts a vertical range of cells to a horizontal range or vice versa. So that one qualifies to be an array function. That one qualifies to be an array function. Let's get to Roman C or part C. Choice C, we are being given VLOOKUP. Just come to your cell and then they say equal VLOOKUP. So what does it say? Looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. By default, the table must be sorted in an ascending order. So if you look at the response for VLOOKUP, is it an array function? Is it an array function? Is it an array function? No, no, no. Is it an array function? So the only thing that's going to be a problem to you is how to interpret the instructions or the informations given to you up here. But as you can see, you have all the answers with you. As you can see, you have all the answers with you. So an array formula or function is a formula that can perform multiple calculations on one or more items in an array. You can think of an array as a row or a column of values, or a combination of rows and columns of values. So I think that is now okay. I think after picking either VLOOKUP, transpose, and multiple, it gives an array as the next step. So that is the function of, or that is the definition of an array function. So that is those are some of the array functions that you are required to know, as you've seen them. We've even tested them using our Excel. They were testing English. Wow. Okay, so that's just some of the things that you need to know. That's the simplest way of knowing those shortcuts. That is topic number 2. So as you read, you can focus on other areas because you've now seen what you actually need to do to get your marks from topic number 2. So some people are still asking me the correct answer, but I've given you all the answers. Some people are still not able to get the correct answers. Some are still not able to get the correct answers. Let's see if there is anything that was tested in December from topic number 2. Sasa wenye wanauliza correct answers wananiangusha kabisa. They are now letting me down. They are now letting me down. For your December sitting, was there anything from topic number 2? I can see question 20. Question 20 for your December sitting. There's something from topic number 2, that is question 20. Question 20. Question 20. I now want to get the correct answer from you. You are being told that which of the following formulas in MS Excel will provide a subtotal of variables provided in a list of vertically listed cells? Which of the following formulas in MS Excel will provide a subtotal of variables provided in a list of vertical listed cells? Sasa, we just have our values here. Let's have our values down here. Just have your values somewhere there. Then start testing the choices that the examiner is giving you. First one, we want to get the summation. So let's say this is the area of getting the summation. We want to get that summation at this point. That's where we want our total summation to be. So choice 1 is telling us that we are going to say sum A1 to H20. A1 to H20. If you look at where we have A1, and then you move to H20, sasa wengine hawana easy papers. Some people do not have these documents. So A1 to H20, A1 to H20, 1, it is not vertical. 2, they are not within the same row. So that one is out. Remember, the examiner is specific that it is in a vertical array. So that one is automatically out. That one is automatically out. That one is automatically out. Sasa wengine wanaribu. Wengine wanaribu mkutano. Okay. Then let's see here. That one is out. Roman 1 is out, or but choice A is out. Let's see choice B. Choice B, what do we have there? B, we are being told, even if there is any other choice, but if you look at choice B, we have A1 to A20. So A1 to A20, I mean, yes, A1 to A20, remember the letters just represent, the column name. So here, for our case, you're going to use L. Just say L, then of course you have the arrangement of this. A1 to A20, all of them are still within the same column. Now that they are within the same column, is it having the correct symbol that separates it, that gives us the range A1 to A20? Yes, I think it is correct one. Let's look at C. Let's look at C. Of course, that is what is given here. Let me just get it for you. Imagine what you've been using every day. Just look at what is given there. Let me just make it this way. So let's look at that sign. Let's look at that sign. Then this other one. We also need to get this. Sasa watu wanaanguka. Watu watanguka hapa vibaya sana. That is L18. That is the range. And then now the examiner has done this. Instead of putting that, you are given this. That is what is given. So as you can see, then another one, we have A to A20. So just indicate L to L20. Just indicate L to L20. So this other side, we are eliminating. We are eliminating the first letters. Just see what it has done. Then that is what we have. That is what we have as the choices. So just use these formulas here, insert them in the cell and see what it returns to you. Which question is this? Can someone help Collins? Can someone help Collins? He's not even aware of the question which we are talking about. Someone to help Collins, someone to help Collins, someone to help Collins. Question number 20, the December paper. Not pilot, but December. So there are a lot of shortcuts that you'll be able to see in topic number 2. For those who have purchased the BDA study text, from RCM, you will be able to see all the shortcuts in topic number 2. And then if you just open any Excel document and you try to follow those shortcuts, you'll be able to see that everything is found within that. Everything is found within that, within the worksheet. You just follow the steps and then you'll be able to see everything given to you. So that is what you are supposed to do to tackle topic number 2. And it seems we are through with topic number 2, unless there is any question. Topic number 2 is as simple as such. So you are only remaining with the other topics to put more emphasis on. So that is what I wanted to share with you for the topic number 2. Of course, we'll keep on applying those shortcuts. We'll keep on applying those shortcuts every now and then. So let me just do away with this. I'm able to get the total. So another shortcut maybe, which you are also going to see there. Please rudia. Okay, so this is what we are given. These are the choices which we are given there. The first one already was out. So this one here, when I now just remove this thing which I placed, so this is the function which you have. This is the function which you have. You are able to see we have L11. Then whatever separates L11 and L18, we will see if it is what is actually used to give us the answer. What's the pass mark of this paper? 50%. So as you can see, the second choice here is wrong because Excel is also telling you it is wrong and it is ready to rectify that. It wants to take it to the correct one. Just see the suggested correct. Yes, so that is what is required there, the correct one, that is it. So Excel is ready to rectify it. And if we check this one here, it is exactly equivalent to what was given to you as choice B. That is choice B. Okay, so we don't want to correct it. It will remain with that error. If I come to this part here, so if I correct it, it takes me to this other formula. If I come to this part here, if I come to this part here, see what is now given to me. Yes, section A is multiple choice. Section A is multiple choice. You pick the best or the correct answer. So if you come down here, you can now see what we have. Let me just eliminate this and you see what is going to be returned. So as you can see, I only have L. So the only one which is active is this. The other one does not specify. It only tells me the column, but there is no row number. So this one here is wrong. It does not indicate the row number. But the moment I also delete 18, so let me do away with 18. You will now see the entire column is now highlighted. So if I want to highlight the entire column, I just say L. And then I have L to L, which means I'm highlighting the entire column. But the moment I introduce any number to specify a cell or a row number, then it is now not going to help me get what I need. So are we supposed to mark the correct answer or have separate workbook? This one here is purely online. The moment you log into your portal, you'll be given the password to access the exams. So you just mark the correct answer. There is an option. There is a box for all the choices. So the correct one, the answer which you feel is the correct one, you'll be having a box there that you mark. Of course, you'll be given this training maybe 1 week or 2 weeks to exam. Of course, you'll be given a training maybe 1 or 2 weeks to exams on how to use the computer or how to do the computer-based exams. For those who are going to do it for the very first time, you will be informed. For those who have done it, there is no difference. It's the same thing that you've been doing. If you've ever done any exam online, then you are going to do the same thing. So I believe that's enough for that. That's enough for that. Let's just now touch. Let's now try to touch something here. So here we have question number 21. Amani Pharmaceutical Limited is a mid-sized firm exploring prospects of future growth. The management of the company has prepared the statement of profit or loss for the year ended 30th June 2022 with forecasts of expected growth rates in the various line items for the next 3 years. This information is presented below. So we have the values for 2022. We have the values for 2022. These ones here are the values for 2022. Then from there, you are being told that we have some growth rate scenarios. And how many are they? They are 3. We have the worst case, base case, and best case. So the percentage changes in these components of the income statement and also equity given to us here, some assets also given to us here have already been provided. So these values for 2020 are expected to change using 3 different scenarios. Exam, you get to exam with your own laptop. You'll go to the exam center with your own laptop. Okay, so some of these, let's proceed with this. So we have this one here. So for you to tackle this, first of all, assume that you don't have base and best. You are only given worst. Then work out everything for worst for the next 3 years. Then after that, come and look for the information for base. Assume you don't have worst, you don't have best. Work out for the 3 years. Work out for the 3 years. So let's just do one and then you will follow that. Let's just do one. Remember, I suggested that this one is going to be an assignment, but let's just do one. And I expect you to comply. You can complete the remaining 2, then you share. So let's have now 2022 values. Let's have 2022 values which are given to us there. Let's assume all these other ones are not there. So I've said for you to work this out perfectly, you assume that the other scenarios are not there and you want to work out the values for 2023, 2024, 2025. That is what we have. That is what we have. So these values are given to us. Of course, the changes here are in percentages. So for 2022, revenue is 4,500. It is expected to grow or to increase by 2%. Our revenue is expected to increase by 2%. So for revenue for 2023 is going to be equivalent to 1 plus the growth rate. Remember, 2%. Yes, they have indicated the percentage up here, but this one is not 2%. This one here will give you 200%. 2% should be 0.02. This one given to us here will be giving you 200%. So what do you do? What do? You either type 2% directly or convert these ones here to 0.02. So I indicate that it's going to increase by 2%, and then I multiply that by the revenue of the previous year. Multiply that by the revenue of the previous year. Then my growth rate for 2024, or my new revenue for 2024, will be equivalent to 1 plus the percentage growth rate. Then I multiply by the revenue of the previous year, which now is 2023. So what do? Enter, and then you can now autofill to get the revenue for 2023, 2024, and 2025. It will be better to convert to 0 to avoid extra work. Okay. So somebody suggesting that we do it to 0.02. Very well. So let's see. Or you can just make these ones here to be percentages. Make those ones to be percentages because you're going to apply or use them for the 3 scenarios. Let's just make them to this. Let's just make them to that pattern because some people are not able to understand why we are converting 10% or 10 to 10%. So let's have them. That's what they're indicating. That is what they are indicating. If it is 3 scenarios, we use 2022 base value. So is that a question? But let's see. So now we want to see if they are going to have the same thing as these ones here. At this point, so our revenue for 2023 will be equal to, close the bracket, 1 plus, all revenues are going to increase by 2%. So what are we supposed to do here? What are we supposed to do here? We simply come to this point and take this 2%. It is going to be constant for all revenues in that section. So what do? What do I do to that? I simply log the whole of it. And someone also will do this. Someone also will do this. Because we've known very well that this revenue here, let me make it another, let me reduce it to a simple thing that everyone will now not struggle. You just have this one here. Copy the whole of this and bring it to this area. Copy the whole of this and bring it to this point. Copy the whole of that and bring it to that point. Copy the whole of that and bring it to that point. So once you have it there, we now want to use this. So we are going to say equal to, close the bracket, 1 plus this rate here. So we are going to keep on referring to this column, but as we move downwards, we want these workings to keep on referring to this column C as the percentage growth rate. So what do? I only lock the column. I only place a $sign before C to lock the column. So once that is done, I close the bracket and multiply it by the value that is there. If I do that, I will not need to do anything again. I just do it this way, and then I double click. And then I double click to have the answer for everything returned to me. So I'll be able to have the answer for everything returned to me. So if I look at this, let's see now, the revenue for 2022 is 4,500. When I increase 4,500 by 2%, I am going to have this. You can see it is referring to this percentage increase. If I just come down here randomly and look at the dividends which were given the growth rate here, I am able to see that my dividends, it is now referring to the percentage increase of dividends and then multiplying by what I have or what is supposed to be given there in the previous year. So that's the simplest way of calculating everything. For which scenario? Remember, this one here was worst scenario. This one here was for worst scenario. So I indicate that is worst scenario. So that is how I calculate everything there. Of course, there are some information given to me, some assumptions, some instructions. Assume a corporate tax rate of 30%. That is one instruction given to us. Then the growth in the equity is only attributed to changes in retained profits. Then int, in applying the growth rates, ignore changes in opening and closing balances. Then total equity will grow only as a result of retained earnings. So they are emphasizing on that. How do we autofill for 2024 and 2025, sir? Okay. How do we autofill for 2024 and 2025? Have you set your formula? 1 plus the growth rate. Our growth rate is 2%. This growth rate here, is constant, as it is going to be for 2024 will be 2% higher than what is there in 2023. And we have said this 2% will keep on referring to it. So place a $sign before C. iPhone, confirm if you've done that. Place a $sign before C. Have you managed to do that? Have you managed to do that? Then close the bracket and then you multiply it by this value. And then you multiply it by this value. So have you done that? Have you done that? Okay, so you enter. Once you do that, you don't need to do any other thing. Just drag it to the right to 2025. Then at the bottom corner here, double click. Then you tell me what you are able to see. At the bottom corner there, double click, then tell me what you are able to see. Do you now have everything auto-filled? Do you now have everything auto-filled? iPhone, confirm. Do you have everything now auto-filled? Do you have everything now auto-filled? Anyone else? Any other person who has been able to do that? So you don't need to do them one by one, just autofill everything so that when you're going to do the correction, We are going to do it once and for all. Bado getting different figures. Sasa huyu ameanguka. Huyu ametuangusha kabisa. Getting different figures. What is it that is not happening? Esther, let me allow you to share your screen for just 1 minute. Okay. So once you do that, autofill, but there are some instructions given to us. Of course, gross profit, it is the difference between these two. It is the difference between these two. So it is not being maintained. Just highlight because we have a negative. So what do? We just get the formula. So just say Alt to get that. Of course, it will give us 1300, but now this other one should be different. So what do? Just highlight this other side, then you say Control R. Control R to get that. Control R to get that. Control R will be copying the formula from this other side. Then Control R. Tumemaliza hiyo kazi. So zote ziko sawa. Those ones are now correct. Then other investment income, what were we given under that? It is having 2% increase. So that one is okay. 2% increase. Tukikuja hapa, it is 2% increase. So that is it. Then this one here. Then total income is now gross profit plus other comprehensive income. So what do? Alt equal to get the summation of those two. Then just say Control R, Control R, Control R. You are copying the formula on the left hand side to the right. Repeat. Sasa tunarudia something. What should I repeat, iPhone? Is it getting the net profit or total income? Okay, so let's get to administrative expenses. What are they saying? 5% increase. Hiyo iko sawa. Our formula was capturing percentages, increase in terms of percentages all through. So after administrative expenses, distribution expenses, 5% increase. Then earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So that is the difference between total income and these two different expenses. So just join the three. Join the three. And somebody will also just do it that way to get the totals. Alafu depreciation and amortization. Tumeambiwa it will be increasing by 5%. That is well taken care of. Earnings before interest and taxes. Tunafanya aje? We highlight these two to get the summation. And we have been able to get earnings before interest and taxes. Then we now eliminate the interest component, increasing by 10%. Once that is done, we get earning before taxes. Earnings before taxes, we highlight the two. So that is the earning before taxes. Then this side here, the examiner adds some instructions, which we need also to look at. So assume corporate tax is 30% of the earnings before taxes. The growth in equity is only attributed to changes in retained profits. The equity will grow only as a result of the retained profit. So that one is well taken care of. That one is well taken care of. So for the taxes, tutakuja hapa and then we say profit or income tax is 30% of the earnings before tax. So we are going to confirm, even though we have been given 160, we have been given 160. So we are going to have 30% of this. 30% of, which one do we have there? No. At this point, at that point, we have the first one is already given here, so that is just getting the difference. That's just getting the difference there. That is just a matter of getting the difference. But now the taxes for year 2, that is 2023. I want somebody to help us get the taxes for 2023. 2023, how are you going to calculate the taxes? Given that the corporate tax is 30%, sasa mtu atusaidie hapo. 30%. 30%, what do you get? 30% of 617. 30% of 617, okay. Sasa nataka kuona responses from everyone. Income tax expense is given and there is no increase, so it is assumed constant. So that is for 20. That is for 2023. That is for 2023. Taxes is not increasing, but it is constant. Yes, the rate is constant, but the values will be different because remember it is 30% of something. That something will be different from one year to the other. So what is that something? What is that something? Mother, that's good. So what's that something? The tax rate will be constant, but the tax itself will not be the same figure. Hii yenye tuko nayo hapa is wrong. Hii yenye tuko nayo hapa is wrong. Not 160, although 30% by 617 plus 185. 617. So somebody is telling us that we take earnings before tax, then we add, what is this 185? Then we add, so we add profits. We add profit for the year. Why do we add profit for the year? Why are we adding back profit for the year? Okay, it is 30% of 617. Earnings before tax, add depreciation, then tax. Sasa nataka jibu. I want to see if these people are able to calculate this. This one is financial reporting knowledge. This one here is financial accounting knowledge. Watu wananiangusha leo. And I believe everyone in this class has got the certificate for both intermediate and advanced and foundation level. Sasa watu wananiangusha leo. We should add back depreciation. That's according to Emmanuel. Okay. Let me see what these people are giving me. For 2023, it is 30% of 617. Then drag formula right. Okay, that is Clifford. Someone else. Sasa hatutasonga before you tell me that, because when you're going to deal with retained earnings, we are going to meet some complex things. Sasa kama tax ndio imetushinda hapa, naona tukiama hii class because of the retained earnings down there. Someone else, I expect 103 responses. So far, I've only received about 5. Wengine mko wapi? Wengine mko wapi? Sasa hapo ndio iko na rudia swali. I want the tax for 2023, 2024 and 2025. But 2023, because once you get for 2023, we'll apply the same to get for 2024 and 2025. To 32.5, how are we getting that? Retained earnings were taxed in the previous trading period. Yes. So as if I kutumika hapo tena, that's correct. Then another option, 30%, that is 617, which is earnings before taxes, minus 150, that is plus 150. What is this 150? What is this 150? Let me see. What is this 150? Where is this 150 coming from? Watu wananiangusha hapa. Depreciation. So when you want to charge tax, we add back depreciation. Depreciation is 158. Okay. So somebody is saying we add back. You add retained profits brought forward. Retained profits, no, that one is coming at the very last point. Mwenye nasema retained profit, hiyo iko nje kabisa. Before we get to retained profits, no. Sasa watu wameshindwa kupata tax. Watu wameshindwa kupata tax. Watu wameshindwa kupata tax. So hii swali ikiletwa kama assignments itakuwa sawa juu watu watafanya research. If it is given to you as an assignment, I think people will do a lot of research and you'll get the correct answer. I have several answers or responses from you here with different answers. I have several responses from you here with different answers. So you have to get tax either through assignment, niwapatie time mfanye research, so that when we meet next time niambie, ama kila mtu afanye hiyo swali a submit to mark together in class. Which option is good for you? Mfanye research mlete tufanye kwa class, ama kila mtu afanye the whole question, submit, then I submit to you, or I give you feedback on what you've actually done. Which option will work out for you? Which option will work out for you? Which option? Take away. Sasa kila mtu. Hapana, hapo sasa mtakuwa mnaniangusha. This thing is there in financial reporting. This thing is there in financial accounting. Alafu niwaambie sahi tena mnaniambia mmesahau. Really? Watu wafanye hii swali yote, the whole of question number 21. Share it to my email or directly to my number as a document. Then tupatane kwa class to discuss this. I think that one will make you to do a lot of research to get the other parts of the question. Why am I getting same figure in the distribution cost for all the 3 years? Distribution costs. Distribution cost, ebu angalia what we have done for 2023. Then 2024, it now changes to refer to this one here. Sasa it means wewe ulilock everything. It means maybe you locked this one here. Check how you applied the dollar sign. It might be the source of the problem there. So watu wafanya assignment, watume kwa email. Watu wafanya assignment, watume kwa email. Watu wafanya assignment, watume kwa email. So do that. I will not give you an hint on how to work out the tax. No. That one now, mtakuwa mmeharibu mambo kabisa. So income tax, iko na issue, but we can still use that. That one has got issues. You are going to work it out, then you get the correct answer. Halafu hapa kwa profit after tax for the period is the difference between profit before tax, then you subtract tax. Then dividends paid. Dividends paid tuliambiwa ni what percent? 10%. So 10% of these values ndio hiyo hapo. Ndio hiyo hapo. Hiyo iko sawa. Then we get retained profit for the year. Retained profit for the year is now the difference between those two. That is the retained profit for year. So if you are able to go through the video for the income statement, if you are able to go through the video for income statement, which I did not lock because it is useful for you during your exams, it is needed. It helps you to get some concept on how to deal with retained profits. So for 2022, we have retained profit brought down. This retained profit brought down is what was received or what is transferred from 2021. So the retained profit brought down, which was there from 2021, you add to the retained profit for the year to give you retained profit carried forward or retained earnings carried down. So if you add these two, you are supposed to get 735. Na hiyo ndio 735 yenye tunaona hapa hivi. So shareholders equity. I'm unable to increase speed when watching the videos. Please help. Okay, that one I will see. So in the shareholders equity section, shareholders equity. Can you mention to me the items that we normally have in the shareholders equity? the total shareholders' equity. We normally have ordinary share capital, then retained earnings, reserves, general reserves, share premium is also there, other comprehensive income. We all have all that. But now we are being told that the total equity. So in this information given to us, we are told that equity is constant. The only thing that is going to affect equity or the changes in equity is as a result of the retained earnings. So you don't have all those other things. The only thing that is going to appear in the shareholders' equity section is the ordinary share capital, which we do not know, but we know the retained earnings. Retained earnings carried down is what we bring to the statement of financial position. Not retained earnings brought down, not profit for the year, but retained earnings carried down or carried forward. This carried down is the retained earnings as at the beginning of the year or from the previous year. Then we add to the retained profit for the year in the current period. So we have been told that our total equity for the year 2022 is equivalent to 2,200. Then we have also been given that retained earnings for 2022 is equal to a total of 735. The retained earnings we are referring to here, which is supposed to be brought to the final or statement of financial position, is the retained earnings carried down or brought or carried forward. So it is 735. So what should I do to 735 to get 200 or 2,200? Which figure am I going to insert here to help me get 2,200? Which figure am I going to insert there? Which figure am I going to insert there? So it means if I bring 1465 and add these two, I will be able to get my shareholders or total equity. Total equity is equivalent. Total equity is equivalent to 1645. And the examiner is telling you something that is very interesting here. The growth in equity is only attributed to changes in retained profits. Total equity will grow only as a result of the retained profits. So it means ordinary share capital itakuwa constant all through. Ordinary share capital yenye tumepata will be constant up to the last year. Kindly pardon. These are the components that we need to have here. For us to get the total equity, we normally say it is the ordinary share capital, then retained earnings, carried down, and the retained earnings carried down is equal to retained earnings brought down plus profit for the year. Our retained earnings carried down, we have said, is the retained earnings brought down 550 plus retained profit for the year 185 will give us 735. This 735 is what we take to the statement of financial position. That is what we take to the statement of financial position, which we have brought here. So when we add ordinary share capital and retained earnings carried down, we'll be able to get total equity. An examiner is telling us that ordinary share capital will remain constant. The changes in shareholders' total equity is attributed to as a result of the changes in the retained earnings. Ordinary share capital will be constant. Is it clear now, Nancy? Is it clear now? Is it clear? So we get that, and we autofill it up to the last year, which is that one there. Then from there, we come to this area. We want to get the retained earnings carried down. Na tukasema retained earnings carried down is the retained earnings brought down from the previous year plus the profit for the year. That is for 2022. Let us now come to 2023. So my question is, what are we going to indicate here? Of course, it is not 550. Hapa yote ni null. That one is 0. Hapa sasa lazima to calculate vizuri. Let's do away with these things. Let's remain with the 2022. So we have said our retained profit brought forward or brought down is the retained profit from the previous year. Now that we are through with 2022, can someone give us the value for the retained profit brought forward in the year 2023? Sasa mtu atupatie hiyo figure kama mmeelewa. 884, no, you are lying to me. Mwenye anasema 884 unanidanganya. No. You don't even need to calculate that one, just type that one. Hiyo uko nayo. Mwende hapo umenidanganya, please. Or is it that these ones here are what are confusing you? Let's have that. Yes, let's have that. Sasa Mwende, have you notified the problem? Have you been able to rectify that? Mwende, have you been able to see where you went? Okay, that's good. So our retained profit brought down is the carried down of the previous year. So tutakuja hapa tuseme equal to this one here. Then retained profits carried down will be brought down plus the profit of the current year That's why we said the summation of these two, that is profit of the current year plus profit brought down, will give us the profit or retained profit carried down. So tukikuja hapa, the formula or the pattern remains the same. So retained earnings carried down for 2023 is 884, but brought down is 735. Sasa tukikuja huku 2024, our brought down will be the carried down of 2023. Now that these things are the same, see, to highlight this part here. Now autofill hadi huko mwisho. So you'll be able to see the lower one here, carried down, becomes brought down. Carried down becomes brought down. Na hiyo kitu imeingiana hivyo. Now, total equity. Examiner alisema total equity is only going to change due to changes in retained earnings carried down. So for us to get total equity, we take these retained earnings plus the constant ordinary share capital. Yenye tulipata ni ngapi? Ni hizi hapa. Our ordinary share capital, sasa mtu hajashika hapo. So somebody saying that I should repeat, is it how to get the retained earnings or now how to get the total? Is it how to get the retained earnings? Is it how to get the retained earnings out of the total? Sasa tumesema hivi. Let's do away with these ones here. These profits you will be able to calculate, but retained earnings hii tumepewa na tukasema our retained earnings brought down was there. If you could have been having 2021 hapa, tungekuja then down to this point, tungesema our retained earnings carried down for 2021 hapa, we would have indicated 550. We would have indicated 550. We would have indicated 550. But because we don't have 2021, the retained earnings carried down for 2021 becomes the retained earnings brought down for 2022. Hapo imeeleweka? Then the retained earnings carried down for 2022 will be brought down plus the profit for the year, yani profit after paying for the dividends. Now, once we do that, we are getting 735. Remember this 550 imekuja hapa. So it means if we now go to 2023, our 735 yenye iko hapa ndio itakuja hapo juu. Then for us to get the total, tulichukua retained profit brought down plus the profit for the year. Na tukafanya aje? Tukapata hiyo total. Tukapata hiyo total. So at this point, we've gotten the total, which is the retained earnings carried down. Ona hii 550 penye ilikuwa hapa juu. For 2022, it's 735 tumepeleka hapa. So it means for 2024, this 884 tunapeleka wapi? Kwa hii space. Hiyo 884 tunapeleka kwa hiyo space. Na tunapata total. Alafu hii 993 tunapeleka wapi? Kwa hii space. So is that clear? That is going to who? To Nancy and Anne. Hapo iko sawa? Hapo iko sawa? Okay. Tukimaliza hapo, we now get to this point. So this is the retained profit carried down. That's supposed to, it is this value that is being taken to the statement of financial position. So for 2022, tumeambiwa that the total equity is 2200, which means we are taking retained earnings carried down, tunaongeza na ordinary share capital ndio tupate 2200. So if we have 7300, we add it to unknown value, which is the ordinary share capital, we'll be able to get 2200. That unknown value happens to be 1465. If you add 1465 to 735, unapata 2200. Sasa tumekuja hapa tukapata 1465. This 1465 is ordinary share capital. Assuming this is a public limited company, for you to change the shares, you know very well ordinary share capital is always fixed. And the examiner is telling us that an assumption is given that the changes in the total equity will not be as a result of ordinary share capital. No, it will be as a result of changes in retained earnings. So our ordinary share capital will be constant all through. So tukitaka kupata total equity, tutachukua ordinary share capital plus retained earnings carried down. Do we have that ordinary share capital? Tushaipata hapa. Is it? So tutakuja hapa tuseme it is this value plus the retained earnings carried down. Tukifanya hivyo, we will be able to get our total equity for the for the 4 years. That's how we get the total equity. So you can see the total equity has changed, but not due to changes in ordinary share capital. No, it is due to changes in retained earnings that examiner talked about. Sasa, is there someone who has a question before we end this class? Do I have any question from you? Do I have any question from you? Do I have any question from you? Okay, na nimesema, as you work out the worst case scenario, you assume that there is no best case, there is no best case. The only thing you have is 2022. If you're going to go for the best case scenario, you will assume that you don't have worst, you don't have best. What you have is the values for 2022. Sasa kazi kama hii nikikwambia ufanye uweke kwa email, itakuwa kazi ngumu kweli? Okay, so dividends you are given percentage increase. Dividends ulipewa percentage increase. Sasa hiyo haina shida. You just take the percentage increase and then you work it out. So I believe that's more than enough for today. Have a blessed night and let's meet on Monday.